Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, it is great to have you. And today we're going to be doing a deep dive in technical analysis on Bitcoin because this morning Bitcoin hit new monthly highs, which means that this is the highest point that we have seen Bitcoin since the end of August. But now that Bitcoin is back up and hovering around this $12,000 area, we need to talk about the major resistance that is right above its head and the breakout potential that Bitcoin could have. So if any of that interests you, make sure you guys stick around for the entire length of the video, as there will be important information discussed the entire way through. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is one of the key trend lines that has actually flipped its position on Bitcoin. Now, obviously, Bitcoin had this beautiful pennant that we had over here, created a great squeeze, a great breakout, but what was previously resistance has actually turned into support. And if we zoom in over here, this was resistance not once, but twice on Bitcoin at swing highs. And now it is being used as support, not once, but twice. And along with that, you have the 50 EMA over here being used as support on this 4-hour. Now, since then, you do have that golden cross on this 4-hour chart, not quite as significant as if we were to see this all over again on a 1-day. We're still on that golden cross on the 1-day, but again, the 4-hour isn't quite as monumental as seeing something like a golden cross on that 1-day time scale. But still, the fact that we're using the 50 EMA as support after we had previously used it as resistance, and also this previous trend line, which was a resistance trend line, is now being used as support on two separate occasions to the downside. Now, I think that this is actually really good, and if you are a bull in this area, you have to recognize that while there is resistance here, these are signs that you like to see if you want any kind of a continuation to the upside. Again, this isn't moving parabolically, this isn't going out of control. We're building support on the way up here, and that's what we have been doing for the last couple of months now, or really for the last month or two, is we've slowly just been grinding up, building support, grinding up, building support, grinding up, building support. What was previously the top over in this range is now being used as the bottom of our current range, which is just a really good, strong textbook thing to see on any kind of asset chart, especially on something like Bitcoin, because what this is doing is this is showing, where the bears were used to be strongest is now where the bulls are now strongest. And so the bears are almost falling back and retreating from this area because the bulls are too strong for the bears to hold this area at now. And again, that's why I believe that Bitcoin was going to come up here and test, relatively close to this $12,000 area. Now, anywhere between where we just topped out at around 11,800 all the way up to about 12,500 is going to be one of those last levels of defense for the bears to this upside. Again, if Bitcoin is able to break back into this range, break above that like $12,000 to $12,500 area of resistance, I think that Bitcoin can really fly. And in fact, this is quite the bold term over here, but I'm zooming out of this. In fact, I'm bold enough to say that if we are able to break back into this parallel channel that Bitcoin was having, I don't think that it's crazy for us to be able to touch the heart line. Now, the heart line of this channel is all the way up by about $16,000 to $17,000. And again, that's a very large number, but I think that it's very possible. And in fact, I think that it coincides with our previous levels of resistance. Now, previously, we have seen some other levels of resistance on Bitcoin, like that $12,200 area, the $13,200 area, and then finally this $14,000 area of resistance that we saw in July of 2019. So, first and foremost, I don't think that it would be too crazy to retest one of those levels again. Especially if we're hitting new yearly highs in the year of 2020, I think that it could be very possible to test or maybe even break past those areas and look for, heading up, even above that to that $16,000 to $17,000 area. Now, again, I know this is a big claim. It's going to take a lot of volume. It's going to take a lot of bullishness, a lot of buying pressure to be able to, to really do this. But I think, again, one of the most important concepts to recognize here is that, one, this has just been an absolute phenomenal bull trend so far. And if I can actually zoom out over here, I want to talk about the macro of Bitcoin. Again, the macro of Bitcoin over here is that it's closing on higher swing highs, or excuse me, on higher swing lows on a macro multi-year time scale. I mean, we're talking about the lows from 2018 to the lows of 2019 to the lows of 2020. This thing formed a higher swing low on a very, very macro scale. And in fact, I think that we are getting ready to form a multi-year high on Bitcoin as well. Again, if the trend is your friend here, and I believe the trend has been the friend of Bitcoin for the last 10 or so years now, minus a little bit of a pullback that we have had in the past, I would still argue that the overall trend of Bitcoin has been pointing up, really since its inception. Now, that's not to say that it hasn't had its pullbacks, but, you know, Bitcoin is moving once again, and, you know, I'm not saying that it's going to 20K by the end of this year, but I do think that it's realistic to look at Bitcoin hitting that $14,000 to $16,000 to $17,000 area again in its lifetime. Now, personally, I believe over the next 5 to 10 years, Bitcoin is going to surpass its all-time high. But, you know, that's a topic for a separate video. And in fact, what I want to talk about here is just kind of the hard evidence as to why I think that it's more probable that we will hit in between that $12,000 to $16,000 area rather than to say that we're going to go to 50K or something like that. So, with Bitcoin being in this area, I think that the one thing that it really needs to do, if it wants to see any kind of a breakout, is to kind of up that volume. Again, great green daily candle over the weekend for Bitcoin. I'm looking at this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday candles for Bitcoin. You're liking what you're seeing. Again, the past couple of days, the overall increase in Bitcoin, if we want to measure this out, has been about 6% to the upside. That's not too bad for a weekend move. Again, now that the markets are open, again, the markets are bullish, Bitcoin's bullish. I really don't see kind of any reason that this thing would go off of a cliff. Now, it is approaching resistance. We are seeing that we are approaching those yearly highs, and we're also approaching the previous bottom, the current top of what was this massive parallel channel over here. So if we do get up into this area, we have seen the rejections before. We've seen it not once, but twice over here on Bitcoin, and it wouldn't be too crazy to say if we were going to reject from this area once again. But, you know, with that being said, I think that eventually we are going to break through this. Eventually this whole thing's going to be nullified, and we're going to be able to just really delete this off our chart. I really have this here to see that if we are going to retest this one more time, the real question is, you know, are we going to respect this area around 12,000 to 12,100? If we don't, I think we're going to break out pretty well. But again, you know, we have rejected this area for the last couple of attempts to the upside, and it'll be interesting to see if we actually want to reject this area once again. Looking at the indicators and oscillators over here, like the MACD and the RSI, we are seeing, you know, again, oscillators are pointing straight upwards. We saw a higher high on our MACD. We are currently pushing to go to that oversold territory, or excuse me, the overbought territory on this RSI. We're getting really close to that line, in fact, just around 70 on both the 1 day and on the 4-hour time scale. So that is what Bitcoin is looking like right now. Again, I don't see anything that is too bearish. You know, again, we just hit a new monthly high over here. I think that we might pull back. We might even come back down to this 200 EMA. I don't think that it's going to be anything too bad. I think the fact that we are setting previous resistance areas as support is a really, really good sign for Bitcoin, and that's not something that is incredibly overall bearish going to do. And in fact, you know, this whole motion over here could just be a giant W of sorts, and you know, who knows? Maybe we could have a nice little ripping over here, but I don't want to get anything too FOMO-y. I don't want to get anything too bullish, but, you know, I am bullish on Bitcoin for the time being. I like the formations that it's had. I like how the bulls are playing this. I like how the bears are retreating. And what was previously the bear territory is now the bulls. So I think that that's one of the most important topics of this video, is that the bulls the bulls have taken over where the bears were, and now where the bears were strong, the bulls have taken it. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon. If you guys really did enjoy the video, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't take a lot of time, helps out the channel a lot, and you guys get to see more content like this one. So if you guys did enjoy, I will see you guys very, very soon.